Welcome back to It Takes Two. I'm your host, Ethan.
And I'm Naomi. Today we're diving into a topic that's been making waves across industries: artificial intelligence and its impact on white-collar jobs.
That's right, Naomi. We're not talking about robots on factory floors anymore. AI is coming for jobs that many of us thought were safe, jobs that require higher education, critical thinking, and creativity.
It's fascinating and terrifying at the same time. According to Goldman Sachs, nearly 40 of all professions could be affected by AI. That's a staggering number.
And it's happening faster than many predicted. Tech giants like Mark Zuckerberg openly saying that millions of white-collar workers will be replaced in the coming years.
We've already seen the effects. Amazon, Alphabet, Meta, all these tech companies have cut double-digit percentages of their workforce. And it's not just tech companies, it's spreading across sectors.
Let's break down what's actually happening here. AI tools, especially generative systems like ChatGPT and machine learning platforms, are fundamentally changing office work. They're taking over tasks that were once exclusively human.
Right? And one of the main ways this is happening is through automation. Goldman Sachs estimates that 25 of all jobs in the U.S. could be automated using AI, with white-collar jobs being particularly vulnerable.
Think about all the repetitive tasks that make up office work: drafting emails, creating financial reports, preparing presentations. AI can do all of that now.
And it goes beyond just administrative tasks. Creative industries are being impacted too. Tools like ChatGPT can write full articles, generate marketing ideas, even draft movie scripts. I read that around 23. 5 of companies in the US have already replaced writers with ChatGPT.
That's incredible. And with new models like Claude 3 and the upcoming ChatGPT 5, these capabilities are only going to get more powerful. We're seeing a significant leap forward in what AI can do.
And let's talk about the cost savings for companies. A survey by Resume Builder revealed that 1 in 4 employers claim to have saved at least $75. So are we using AI instead of hiring staff? That's a powerful incentive for businesses.
Absolutely. I read about a company that switched to using generative AI like Midjourney to produce product images and visual ads. The production cost was about 10 times lower than traditional methods. That's a compelling business case.
But here's what's concerning to me. According to the American Development Bank, up to 40 million jobs in the United States could be affected by AI in the short term. And that number could rise to 60 million in the next 5 years.
That's a massive transformation of our job market, and the jobs at greatest risk are those involving routine and predictable activities. Administrative roles like executive assistants and support staff are particularly vulnerable.
I think we're seeing a fundamental shift in what it means to be middle class in America. So much of our middle class depends on white-collar jobs that are now being automated.
That's a great point, but let's look at the other side of this. The implementation of AI doesn't necessarily mean jobs will disappear entirely. In some sectors, AI might help improve human productivity by handling the repetitive stuff, allowing workers to focus on more strategic and creative aspects.
True, and according to the World Economic Forum, despite the elimination of certain jobs, AI will generate approximately 170 million new jobs in the next 5 years. That's actually a net positive.
But those new jobs will require different skills. There will be increasing demand for professionals with skills in technology and programming. So the question becomes, can our workforce adapt quickly enough?
That's the million-dollar question, and it's not just about technical skills. I think there will always be a need for uniquely human capabilities like empathy, creativity, and critical judgment. AI might be good, but it's not human.
Speaking of creativity, the recent writers' strike in Hollywood is a perfect example of resistance to AI integration in creative industries. Over 11 OZA went on strike, partly due to concerns about studios using AI to create scripts.
Yes, and that strike really highlighted how AI is affecting jobs that were traditionally considered immune to automation. Writers feared that the automation of content creation would deprive them of their jobs.
It's a valid concern, but I've been thinking about this throughout history. Technological advances have always changed the nature of work. When tractors were invented, we didn't all starve because farm workers lost their jobs. Society adapted.
That's true, but the pace of change matters. Previous technological revolutions happened over decades, giving society time to adapt. The AI revolution is happening much faster.
Good point. And that's why it's crucial that governments and businesses work together to provide training and retraining for employees who will be displaced. We can't just leave people behind.
Exactly. There's a real risk of exacerbating inequality if we don't handle this transition thoughtfully. People without access to proper training and education could be left behind in an increasingly automated labor market.
I wonder how this will affect education systems. Should we be teaching different skills in schools and universities? Skills that complement AI rather than compete with it?
Absolutely. Education needs to evolve. We should be focusing on uniquely human skills, creativity, emotional intelligence, ethical reasoning alongside technical literacy.
Jamie Dimon from J.P. Morgan said something interesting about this. He acknowledged that the benefits of AI are huge, but warned that some workers could lose their jobs to it. It's that balance that businesses need to figure out.
And I think that's where we as a society need to have important conversations. What kind of future do we want? One where AI simply replaces human workers to maximize profits, or one where AI enhances human capabilities and creates new opportunities?
I'm cautiously optimistic. I think we'll end up with what you mentioned, AI co-workers rather than AI replacements. Tools that make us better at our jobs rather than taking them away entirely.
I hope you're right, but it will require intentional policies and business practices to ensure that the benefits of AI are widely shared, not just captured by a few tech companies and their shareholders.
Absolutely. As we're wrap up today's discussion, I think the key takeaway is that AI's impact on white-collar jobs is real and significant, but how we respond to it is still within our control.
That's right. And this conversation is just beginning. We'd love to hear from our listeners about how AI is affecting their industries and what they think the future of work might look like.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of It Takes Two. I'm Ethan.
And I'm Naomi. Until next time, keep the conversation going.